So 2020 has come and gone, and I was just reflecting the other day on what is my biggest learning from 2020. And obviously there's so many things that have happened in the economy. Obviously COVID has made a massive impact on how we live our lives. And there's been lots of things with the stock market and real estate and just various things. But, the number one thing that I personally learned and I've been reflecting on the back end of 2020 is the importance of having options. COVID really changed the way that we do life. It's not just about the way we work or the way we interact, but it's the way that we live our lives. I mean, for the first time ever, we've been locked in our house. For the first time ever, we've been forced to do things that maybe we did or didn't want to do. We've been forced to stay in certain places longer than we wanted, or we've been asked to leave certain places we wanted to be longer. And I've traveled a lot. I've had the privilege of going all around the world. I've been in the biggest and best cities. I've been to many, many countries over the years, and travel is something that I enjoy. And for the last kind of year and a bit, I haven't really been able to travel because of COVID. And the biggest thing to that was not so much whether I could travel or not, but it was that I couldn't travel. And so it got me thinking about how important it is to have options. Different countries have treated COVID differently. And, I'm not here to say that one's done it better than the other or whatever, but what I will say is that many countries have taken different perspectives. And depending on where you find yourself, your freedoms could be more limited than others. And, the challenge has been, how do you have the maximum amount of options? And one of the things that I've been looking at more and more is how to have more passports or more citizenship options in other countries. Why? Because once you have citizenship in one country, you are tied to that country and the rules of that country. And so if for some reason you may want to move somewhere else, well, you don't have a right to, because you're not a citizen of that country. And again, I know that this is a big deal to talk about. Many people think about, well, how do you do that? I'm not here to talk about that. But I'm just saying that the one thing that I found more important than I'd ever thought before was the importance of options and the importance of being able to live in other places. There's a really good site on YouTube or a good channel on YouTube called the Nomad Capitalist. And he was an American guy that actually moved on. I don't know the guy, I've never spoken to him, so this is not a plug for his channel, although I think his videos are interesting, the Nomad Capitalist. But he talks about going where you're treated best. And there's so many people in Western countries that have typically been treated best because they're from a Western country. But oftentimes these countries have actually had some of the harshest lockdowns, some of the harshest measures. I'm from Australia. Australia is probably the toughest on COVID lockdowns that I've seen anywhere. They closed the country back in March 2020. It's still not open now as of March 2021. You can't fly into Australia unless you're a citizen, and even the citizens have been restricted. Citizens in Australia can't leave Australia. They are blocked from leaving the country. Now, I'm not saying that that's good or bad. Every country has the right to make its own policies and decisions. But what I'm saying is what COVID has shown us is that the freedoms that you took for granted are no longer there. And it's easy to say, hey, yeah, but this will pass and then we'll go back to normal or whatever. And that's fine. Maybe we will. But the point is, you don't want to prepare for the future when the things are happening. You want to prepare for the future when things aren't happening. So it's gotten me to thinking how important it is to have multiple options as far as where you live, to have your financials in such a way that you have flexibility and mobility, right? There are certain things, like let's say that you own a business in a country. And I'm not saying don't have a business, of course, but I'm saying if you have a business in a country and that country has decided because of COVID or some other issue to shut down all the businesses, your livelihood is there. It's in that business. Many people's businesses have failed as a result of COVID. Many people have lost their livelihoods as a result of COVID. How can you prepare yourself in the future so that you don't end up being in that situation? And so this video is really just to draw your attention to and give you some time to think about how to prepare for the future, because you don't know. Things could happen. There could be another pandemic. There could be a war. There could be some other issue that happens. I mean, nobody saw this coming, but yet it affected their lives in a profound way. And the thing that really hit me about COVID and the way that it worked is it was everywhere, right? Like if you have something happen, generally speaking, if it's an economic collapse or you have a war or something, typically some other part of the world is not dealing with that. And so therefore you're okay. I mean, like you can go there for a period of time and ride it out if you need to. But this was everywhere, right? There was nowhere to go during COVID. There was nowhere you could escape to, for want of a better reason, one of a better saying, because everyone was dealing with it. And so it just really made me think about the importance of having options, having the financial ability to go elsewhere if you needed, not being tied down because of your assets or not being tied down because of your business or other things. Having the option to go elsewhere is really, really important. So I just encourage you to reflect on the last 12 months. Think about where are some areas that you could change or bolster yourself or become more independent financially, so that if something should happen in the future, anything, you have the ability to go elsewhere. Think about getting a second citizenship somewhere else. It doesn't mean you abandon where you are. If you love where you are, that's great. Stay there. But look at getting a second citizenship. This Nomad Capitalist site, again, they charge a lot of money if you want to work with them. So it's not going to be for most people. But the idea is the mindset, you can learn a lot from there. And it's something that I've been looking at, because I think the ability to have options of where you go and what you do in the future will become more and more valuable. So just something I've been thinking about, and I thought I'd share it with you. Hope it helps. Have a great day. See you next time.